What do you actually think about that? What do you think about the idea of Dom going like full caster route, full coach route, not just like a bit remotely or giving some? Because it sounds like he actually wants to be hands-on, bro. Essentially, if people don't know, he's openly said that what he misses is like the itch of competition, of like actually feeling like you're not just, it's one thing to say, haha, lol, if T1 loses this game. It's another thing to actually have a direct investment of knowing that what you did could make a team win a match. Like, it sounds like he wants that back. What do you think?
I think for Dom to be in the position that he's in, and obviously taking a massive pay cut because the stream is like immensely successful, his content and so forth, in terms of the revenue he generates, like that in itself is a massive risk. But at the same time, he has worked in his life in a way where now he gets to choose. And when you choose to go into a coaching gig, for all the right reasons, I think that to me is the biggest signal that this is going to be like a success. I think that he's joining a team as well that he worked remotely with, and my understanding is that like the players just basically like said they want him to be there. He was there for a week in person, and like they want him, so he has like the full buy-in of the guys. And I do think that from speaking to Dom, like. He doesn't like that they came up short last year. He doesn't like that at all. He wants the story to conclude the right way. So I do think that a lot of the stars are aligning in terms of making this a very, very cool decision. I feel like from like, if you just think about it from the off-season point of view, like the perfect story for Dom to come in and then C9 to win the championship now as a like the build off of what they did. I think that would be like the really, really cement Dom's impact. And I think that aspect of it is super, super nice. But in terms of what he's going to add to the game, it's like Dom is fucking brilliant when it comes to the game. There's very, very few people that have watched like all the
you saw
pro
the
league.
actual final of Worlds. I'm not joking. In the draft live, he called the entire fucking draft of T1 and KT, like what they would bet. He nailed it, bro. Yeah, his read was perfect. Yeah.
I think Dom just has the right mind for it, and I think that there's very, very few people like that have like this workhorse work ethic. It's like there's two of us in the call, and then there's Dom, and there's like not a lot of people that have the capacity to just drop 18-hour days, no problem, And I think Dom is going to pour himself completely into this because he understands the risk and the implication. Like I think Dom is going to pull this off. I think C9 getting Dom is a massive, like insane signing. And then on top of that, it's like how many more people are going to tune into the C9 games to just see Dom fail or Dom succeed? Like that in itself is also really, really fucking hype.
No, I think the mad underrated thing about Dom, I can tell you. Put it this way, I've told this story before. One thing I was actually shocked at is, in life, when you have a skill, you often will actually, ironically, think that other people have the skill. You will think, well, it's not that big a deal because I have this skill, so I'm sure everyone else can figure it out. So one thing I always take for granted, Yamato, is I actually don't go around bragging to people like, I have an amazing memory, I just always think, I'm sure most people can remember a lot of things. And I've told this story before that I once basically asked Papa Smithy to do like a certain type of show, and he basically just straight up told me like, I don't think I can do it, mate. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes like, I'm not like you and Monty. I don't just remember like every fucking season and what the storylines are. And he said I'd have to go and do research, like I'd have to go and look it up and be like a load of homework, mate. Dom is one of those rare people where he also has a very good recall, mate, of like, if you notice, he doesn't just recall the event, he recalls like what he said at the time, what the community vibe was, what the meta was. Yeah, I think he's also like, yeah, he's like one of those people like the LSs of the world where they're like a tome of knowledge about League. Like they have their own perspective on it. And I do think he's actually done the best job I've seen of anyone in bridging the gap between content creator and coach while still being really entertaining. Like he never became boring. Like one thing I'm sorry, I actually am not as big a fan of Cadrill's stream is the Cadrill I was a huge fan of was the guy on the LEC, bro, in the early stream. He did give some of that up. It's quite clear that at some point Cadrill made a decision of like, I'm going to be more of an entertainer, a Tyler One-esque figure than the pure, academic type nerd guy. He's clearly made like a decision as to which, and he's clearly gone more the like the rats and the entertaining in WWE angle. For me, Dom, I think he's almost perfectly walked that line, bro. He's always maintained the like edge of like, I can still say anything out there, I can be crazy and I can be but I always think he has some of the most reasonable analysis of anyone in the scene, mate. Like, think about his analysis of T1. He does dislike T1 when they're not as good and the fans are shitty, but I think he is probably the best person of the people who dislikes T1 and also giving them like appropriate praise without it sounding like he's just surrendering to the lunatics. I think he does a very good job. That's a fine line to walk, mate. I think it's hard to do that. I know the T1 fans will just say he doesn't do that, he's a hater. But that's just not true. You can go listen. I think he has some of the most reasonable T1 analysis I've ever heard.
More cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.